Welcome everyone, I'm Chris at Whiskey Creek, and today's video will be a Railfans guide to Algonquin Park. It's vacation mode around here, but that doesn't mean we stop thinking about trains. Most of the content is either from a recent visit or from another visit that we did last year where I get to drag my family to go see train stuff. The first point of interest is still far away from the park, but if you're traveling up Highway 11 from the Greater Toronto area, it's worth a stop at Weber's. You can stop for the burgers if you really want, but I stopped for the impressive rolling stock collection, which seems to surpass some rail museums. The passenger cars have been converted into bathrooms, and the remainder are used as storage and meat processing for the burger business. We stopped, of course, on a day that the Rogers network decided to have a giant meltdown, so all the debit machines weren't working, so we didn't even get a burger this time. Now off to the park. Algonquin Park does not have any active railways, but as rail fans it's important to appreciate the history of the railroads too. The Ottawa, Anprior, and Parry Sound Railroad opened in 1896. It used to carry wood from Algonquin Park as part of the early logging industry, as well as allowed grain traffic through from Parry Sound to the St. Lawrence. The railroad was sold to the Grand Trunk Railway in 1905, and then CN took over in 1923. When a trestle was closed in 1933 due to safety, the lines were separated and they continued until 1959. One of our first stops while at the park was the Logging Museum. There's lots to see, including a 1.5 kilometer trail seeing the various methods and impacts of logging to the park throughout a recreated camp. Railroading in the park was thanks to one of the largest lumber barons, J.R. Booth, to help supply mills not just on the river. As part of the trail, they have a shay similar to the ones used in the area. This one was built in 1910 in Montreal. Another stop was the Visitor Center, and these photos were from our trip to the area last year. They have a small section dedicated to the station that was at Cache Lake, and some display boards about the role railroading played in the development of the park. Much of the rail bed has been converted to bike and walking trails, with access points from Mew Lake, Kearney Lake, Pog Lake, Raccoon Lake, and Rock Lake. We continue to Cache Lake, where these photos come courtesy of fellow Instagrammer Misha, who's currently modeling the Ottawa, Anprior, and Parry Sound in HO scale. I'll link to his page in the description. A flash flood weakened the footings of the steel trestle, and the timber trestles were condemned in 1933. CN could not afford the repairs, and the government refused to fund it. As you can see, not much remains, but what's left can be seen from either a canoe or a kayak, or the track and tower trail. As you continue west along the banks of Cache Lake, you'll come to the former site of the Highland Inn, constructed in 1908 by the Grand Trunk Railroad as a year-round resort. The Grand Trunk was taken over by CN in 1923 and continued to operate the hotel. It was closed in 1932, sold and reopened in 1937, but passenger service ended in 1952. The inn was closed in 1956 in an effort to return the park to natural form by removing man-made structures. All that remains are some hydrants, stairs, retaining walls, and the station platform. A small section of track remains, and interestingly, it's still stamped for the OA and PS Railroad. Nearby Hunstville offers a few points of interest, with more coming in the future years. Being about 30 minutes west of Algonquin, you can find the Hunstville station. While passenger service here ended in 2012, it was recently announced that Ontario Northland will provide service between Toronto and Timmins with a stop here in Huntsville again. In the meantime, you can catch some CN action, and who knows what the future will hold, including the impact on tourism for Algonquin Park.
In the meantime, while in Huntsville, if you need your fix of a train ride, you can pop on over to the Muskoka Heritage Place, where they offer train rides on a narrow gauge railroad with open air coaches, which used to offer portage service in nearby Dwight. They have a recreation of a typical 1920s era Ontario train station as part of a Pioneer Village collection. While you won't see a train running through the park anymore, it's easy as a rail fan to see the history of railroading in the area and how it helped Algonquin Park to grow to one of the favorite destinations for Canadians and international visitors to enjoy nature.